Hi, welcome to Be Fucking
Frickin'.
For Real.
Frickin'.
I'm Tori Naim, and I'm here with my mom.
Hi, my name is Amy Chen Mills, and I'm a resiliency coach and author. I wrote a book called The Spark Inside, a special book for youth and state of mind in the classroom. Thought, consciousness, and the essential curriculum for healthy learning.
And I'm a high schooler.
And we're doing this podcast together so that we can reach folks who are moms and daughters and sons and fathers. And we're going through a lot these days after coronavirus. People are stressed out. I think people are stressed out about climate change and politics, but we're going to try to help, but we're going to start with low key topics, right?
High school topics.
We're going to start with some high school topics,
mental health,
and
how we can help ourselves before we try to help anyone else.
Okay, help ourselves first. Help of the helpers, what we
Yeah.
call it in my field. Okay, super cool. So our topic today is
Fake friends.
fake friends. Who has fake friends out there? So how do you define a fake friend? Let's define our terms.
Okay, what did I say? I think a fake friend is someone who acts like they're going to be there for you, but aren't there for you in the sense that when you need someone to talk to, if you're going through something, they're not really there. They cancel plans, they exclude you. Someone who's just not a real friend, but acts like they are.
Right.
And they don't take accountability for stuff like that.
Okay, and that's like the
Kind
high
of like a snake.
Is
Go
that
slower
like
snake.
oh no? Is that like a high school definition?
I
Or
don't
just
know
like
if
in
it's like
everybody?
like universal high school definition or just what I've experienced.
Okay.
I'm sure fake friends do a bunch of other stuff.
I know a lot of teenage girls have troubles with friends and fake friends and people they consider to be real friends doing things that don't seem like friends.
Yeah.
And I have a question for you before I define my version of fake friends. Do you feel like girls have this problem more than boys?
I feel like I don't want to generalize girls and boys because some guys can be more emotionally available than other guys. But what I've noticed from my grade is when guys have a fake friend, they don't really care about it. For when like girls have a fake friend, like it takes a toll on them. Like I never see guys cutting people off, cutting friends off. They just kind of ignore things,
right,
or just joke about them.
I know.
But with girls, it's like, oh, like when you have a fake friend, you hate her.
I know.
Like you can't live.
So do we need to toughen up? Do girls need to toughen up, or do boys? I mean, so there's some immunity. It sounds like for boys, or maybe they actually hurt inside and they just don't say.
Yeah,
it.
I think they hurt inside.
Oh, okay.
They can't. Like I feel like there's this thing where they can't be emotional with their friends, or they're gonna be called names and stuff, which sucks. And I feel like it's even worse to be a boy with a fake friend.
Right. You can't go to your friend and say, "Hey, my feelings are hurt," because then they'll be like, "What are you, a wuss?" Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, that's too bad.
And then it spouts out in violence, and all we've seen men do.
It spouts out in violence like a whale, but like
it builds up inside them.
Right, it builds up inside them. Yeah. Okay. Well, I had another question, but it escaped my mind, so I'll go ahead and talk about fake friends for adults. I mean, yeah, we definitely have fake friends. I don't know if I would call them fake, but I have friends who, like when I went through a really tough time, as you know, like with your dad several years ago when we separated for a while, I thought some people would really be there for me and they weren't. You know, like people I thought were almost my best friends.
Yeah.
And other people who, you know, I don't see as often, for example, were there for me. And kind of like a high school friend that I hadn't seen in like years or hung out with was there for me. And you know who was there for me a lot were people who had been through hard times. Yeah, or were going through hard times. They were there for me because they understood it, that how hard it was and how much you need people for support.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it's funny for me to say that because from the psychology that I work with 3 principles, you're supposed to like, you know, everything that you experience is coming from your thoughts. So therefore, if you can kind of control your thoughts or not put energy into your thoughts, you won't have a bad experience of whatever's happening. And that's true. But I
Mhm.
have to say that some life experiences are so tough, that you are going to have negative thoughts
Yeah.
and you're going to be down and out, probably, unless you're like the Buddha.
Yeah.
And then you need friends.
Yeah, that's what you have to remember about mental health. Like, people think spirituality is like not even having those bad thoughts, but it's really just feeling them and letting them pass and how you get back up from them.
Yeah. And then you can have an extended period
Yeah.
of those thoughts, and then
Yeah.
you might need help.
Yeah.
Like I needed help.
Yeah.
You might need medication, you might need community, you might
Mhm.
need therapy. So to me, everything's fair game. Okay. And we should move on back to
Big
make
friend.
friends. So yeah, and they're also adults. So besides people who sort of let you down,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're fake friends or if they're just not, if they're selfish or if they're just ignorant or not paying, like I don't know. But there are also a lot of adults who act really cheerful towards you, really
Mhm.
friendly, like
Mhm.
very
Yeah.
lovey-dovey. It's more amongst like the suburban mom
Yeah.
crowd, not really so much the activist crowd, which is
Yeah.
my other crowd. Um, and then but then you call them to go for a walk or you call them to do this or that, and they actually just don't.
They flake on you. You're
They
like, "Oh, I'm
flake or they
busy."
never call you.
Yeah. I
Like
feel
they're
like
like, oh, that would be great.
I feel like the term fake friend is
Yeah.
very general. And I feel like we need to put a disclaimer, like, some people might just have fake tendencies or they might be
Fake
doing
tendencies.
some of this stuff, but it doesn't mean that they're all terrible, we all have our bad days. And
Yeah.
sometimes we're not always the best person morally.
And maybe they don't actually want to hang out with you and they don't know
Yeah.
how to say it.
Yeah.
Like that's,
But we'll get to that later.
okay, we're going to get to that later. But so anyway, there are adult fake friends. And then how can we relate to, like, have we ever been fake friends? Like, I don't think we should just be blaming other people.
Yeah, I feel like we've all been there where we have this person that we like, but we don't really want to become that close with. And we haven't been honest and we just tried to cut them off in weird kind of mean girly ways. I
Yeah.
don't know. I haven't been proud of all of the relationships I've made
Yeah.
and like handled and ended, especially. Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely been people where I don't necessarily like, but I'm nice to.
Yeah.
And then there's been people that think they're my friend, but I'm not really all the way there yet.
Yeah. And
And
that's
I'll
fair.
cancel and I'll
I
make up
know.
excuses. And I'm just like, oh, why? Like,
I
it's
know,
just
but
like the
what's the
line.
alternative?
It depends. If you're friends with someone for a while and you're trying to cut off the relationship, I think you owe them an explanation. But if they're kind of like a surface level friend and like you don't really like them, so you're just like kind of trying to avoid hanging out, I don't think you need to give them an explanation of why you don't want to be their friend if you've only hung out with them for a few days. Like, that's kind of
Because that would
rude.
hurt their
That's
feelings.
like, how do you know that I'm that terrible for
I
a
know.
few
So
days?
I think there's a way that, it's okay to tell white lies so that you
Yeah.
don't actually hurt someone's feelings. I mean, I'm dealing with someone who is sort of becoming a friend, but I find them already kind of problematic.
Yeah.
When they call, it gets really complicated. The things that they want to do with me seem really
Yeah.
complicated, and nothing is clear. Things don't
Yeah.
resolve well, and so I'm kind of like, do I want to keep doing stuff with this person?
Yeah.
Um, there's some people in my life who are complicated like that too, who like just are not able to commit and they can only do
Yeah.
things spontaneously,
Yeah.
but I still have them in my life. You know why?
Why?
Because they showed up for me in my dark
Yeah.
times. So
Yeah.
I'm willing to cut them some slack. So
Yeah.
in one area they were strong,
Mhm.
in other areas they were weak. And
Yeah.
so maybe the idea is like we have to sort of weigh for ourselves each person and how valuable
Yeah.
they are to us, and not just how valuable they are to us, but I mean, the spiritual perspective would be we should be loving, we should be kind,
Yeah,
we should be
definitely.
good friends. It's not just about a transactional
It's definitely case to case with the
case, but
term fake
yeah,
friends. Like, it's definitely, there's times where like, oh, I'm a fake, you could call me a fake friend or a
yeah,
fake person at least,
yeah,
but I wouldn't necessarily call myself that. I would call myself being just a civil human being.
civil.
Yeah, but also that brings me into like, if I were to call someone annoying and then go say hi to them, if we were like in the same place or event or whatever, would that make me a fake friend?
I was just in a situation, it was a political sort of party, a launch party for a
Mhm.
friend of mine who's a candidate, and there were people there that I have had encounters with,
Mhm.
being a political
Yeah.
person. And then I've actually sort of publicly said there are things people are doing that I don't like, and they might have identified
Oh, you kinda,
themselves.
like, called them out a little
I
bit.
called them out, but I don't know if they saw that I called them out. I
Yeah.
mean, there are people who don't really get on social media. I didn't call them out personally.
Yeah.
I was like, a lot of it had to do with racial and social justice
Yeah.
issues, right? And
Yeah.
white people, even progressives, who don't
Mhm.
seem to care. So, and I think that's important to care. Anyway, so someone was there at this event, and I didn't know if they were mad at me. And
Yeah.
you have this impulse to go be super friendly,
Yeah.
but I didn't. I'm not going to be super friendly. I don't have to be.
So that's you being real.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I felt like normally in the old days when I was more insecure and I cared a lot about what people thought about me,
Yeah.
I might have gone and been like fake friendly.
See, that's a difference between adults and, like, high schoolers. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like, not necessarily insecure, but, like, we're all still finding ourselves a lot, so we have a need to be liked by everyone,
Yeah.
and so that's where fake friends
Yeah.
come out a lot in high school rather than being an adult, because we want people to like us.
But okay, so here's a question. Why? What is the
I
reason?
have no idea, but I'm not gonna say I'm not guilty to this.
I know. I
I guess
know.
parties, like, I don't know, having connections, it makes you seem cooler, even though they're fake connections. I don't really know what's a
It's
fake
like an
thing,
image
but I
thing.
know everyone can relate to that who's not
Well,
in high school right now.
there's some sort of historical context, evolutionary context, which is like as human beings, we're social creatures.
Mhm.
We could not have survived or gotten to where we are without working in groups.
Yeah.
And if you were in a group, like say an indigenous tribal group, and
Mhm.
you were like excommunicated,
Yeah.
it's very hard to
Yeah.
survive
Yeah.
by yourself.
We rely on each
We
other.
rely on each other. We rely on each other also just for new ideas and to get out of our own heads and to
Yeah,
have conversations that are interesting and beyond
definitely.
our little worlds. And so it's really hard. This is something that I think is important to bring up. I
Mhm.
don't know if it's about fake friends, but I'm just going to bring it up anyway, which is there's a point at which sometimes you have to override your reptilian brain or your limbic
Mhm.
brain, which is the part that's about survival,
Mhm.
and be like, wait a second, am I going to die
Yeah.
if this person doesn't like me? Am I
Yeah.
literally going to die
You've
by
told me that a
myself
lot.
in a cave?
You've told me that a lot where I'm just like, I have no friends, like no one likes me, like I'm not invited to this party, and then you're like, you're not gonna die. Like, why are you acting like it's life or death? I'm like, it is life or
It
death.
is life, but it feels like life or
It
death.
feels like it. It feels like when you're not excluded from something, or you're not invited, or you don't have enough connections, or you don't have as many friends as someone else. It feels shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I mean, there's definitely ways to make yourself not feel bad about stupid material shit like that, but it happens to everyone.
It does. It is also thoughts. We know
Mhm.
that. It's just
Yeah.
not always easy to let go of those
Yeah.
thoughts. I mean, I care too. If my really close friends didn't invite me to something,
Yeah.
I'd be probably upset. But
Yeah.
I think there's also how long are you going to be upset?
Yeah.
Like you might be upset, and that's fine. Everyone's
Yeah.
going to get upset. It's normal. But are you going to carry that? Are you going to carry those thoughts into the next day and the
Yeah.
next day and the next day
Yeah.
and hold on to it
And have a grudge against them.
and have a grudge, which we talked about before, which is like hurting you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, I feel like it's easy in those situations where you're being excluded, or maybe they're being fake friends to you and
Yeah.
they're not including you on everything. And you might feel like they hate you or they just don't like you and they're being super mean. But like most of the time,
Yeah.
it's not something malicious. Like I
Yeah.
felt excluded so many times and I've
Yeah.
stayed home and I thought about it and I've cried about it. I'm like, why are they excluding me? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why don't they like me? And I'm just like going over and over and over again. Why could they exclude me? But sometimes it's just like, oh, they just forgot, or oh, they thought I was hanging out with someone else. Like,
Oh, I think that's a really important point.
yeah,
And I do want to say that as an adult who's now been through 50 plus years, like almost all of the time, I'm going to say 80% of the time,
mm-hmm,
maybe more,
mm-hmm,
it's those other people are not really thinking about you as like you think that they
Yeah.
are. And I can't tell you how many people I thought didn't like me
Yeah.
anymore. This is also really important for girls
Yeah.
because girls, like you say, boys are like, okay, I got to toughen up and who
Yeah.
cares? And
Yeah.
part of that is healthy.
Yeah.
It's a healthy part of
Yeah.
masculinity to not care so much
Yeah.
as girls do. But so girls, I think when we go out into the world, we have to be a little tougher and we have to
Yeah.
be like,
Sorry, I saw this thing where it was like, we're born with trauma. And
we're
I
born.
think that's kind of I think that's kind of accurate. Like we're
Yeah.
born with our guard up. We're born overthinking shit. We're born being really, really careful of
Oh,
what we
born
do and
with
say.
trauma. I thought you said we're bored with
Oh,
trauma.
both.
Are we both? We're so bored. We're so sick of it. Well, I mean, and that's the thing is there is a part of trauma that is on you. Like if you have a fake friend or you think you do and it's hurting you, there's a part of the dynamic that is in you that is your own thoughts.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is that a lot of times you think people don't like you, but
Yeah.
they're doing something for a reason
Mhm.
that is negative because they think negative about you. And in fact, they're not thinking that way at all.
Yeah.
Like there are people in my life who I think don't like me.
And you start this fake battle in your mind.
Well, it's not even about like I won't even reach out to them because I feel like they don't like me. I did something like
Yeah.
what you did. You're holding it in your mind
Yeah.
much more than they are. Now
Yeah.
that's not to say there are people who I had a boss like this who didn't like me and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And then I got fired.
I feel like it's either or. Like when you think someone doesn't like you, they actually really like you, and when you think someone likes you, you think someone likes you and they don't like you. Like it's never like, oh, you think someone doesn't like you and they actually don't like you.
And
well, sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is, but it's rare.
Yeah.
And that's a really important thing to remember is the way that you're thinking about yourself and that relationship you have is almost 100% guaranteed not the way that person is thinking about
Yeah.
it. And that brings up having a conversation.
Yeah.
Reaching out.
Yeah.
Being courageous.
I feel like we're cut off
Mm.
from so many things in our life because we don't know how to communicate,
Yeah.
Like I could have going back to when my friends exclude me, if I gave them a call
Yeah.
and was like, "Hey, can I come hang out?"
Yeah.
100% they would have said yes. And then I would have had fun with my day
Right.
instead of sitting in my room feeling all depressed for myself.
I know. Talking to your mom
Yeah.
on a Friday night. That's the worst thing ever.
So in my head, like I'll make things up. But I mean, it's good to know that everyone goes through this.
Yeah.
And that's why girl fights can be so explosive, I think.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, there are teenagers out there who might be listening right now. I mean, I told you when I was in junior high, we moved 3 times. I went to 3 different junior highs.
Yeah.
There might be kids out there who don't have any friends.
Yeah.
And so you're lucky in a way,
Yeah.
I guess. And what do we say to people who really have a hard time making friends?
I'd say, just do it. I feel like I feel really lonely a lot of the times, and I would love to make new friends. And humans are social creatures, like you said. We always want to make new friends. And if you're lonely and if you're feeling like you have no friends, I guarantee there's another person out there feeling like they want to make new friends. A million other people,
I bet there are people in your school
Yeah.
who look at you and think, oh, look at her. She has so many friends.
And then I'm going home, I'm crying at home.
And then you're crying at night on Friday night with your mom.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah. It's like
watching Netflix, if we can agree on a Netflix movie, which is rare to watch. So, well, here's another thing. What if your friends, there's popularity, oh, I want to be friends with this group or that group, but what if you're really not? I just want to say, I feel like you think that other groups might be having more fun than you.
And they're not.
The point, exactly. And the point is, you get to have as much fun as you want with whatever friends you have.
You get
or
to
the
have
one friend that you have, or your own world that you live in. The thing that's making you unhappy is comparing.
Yeah, and I feel like you get to have as much fun as you let yourself have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because when I was in high school, I was like a newspaper nerd and a drama geek, and I was not a cheerleader.
Yeah,
I only got invited to the parties through my friends.
Mhm.
I was personally not invited to the parties. I got to go because my friends knew where it was.
Yeah.
And so, but I had for me, that was my crew. That was my team.
Yeah.
My drama crew, which I still know people from high school, and some of them are doing quite well in Hollywood. It's great. I feel like we had a lot of fun. I mean, somehow, here's the thing, whether you're a kid or you're an adult, you have to embrace your life.
Yeah.
And not keep thinking about some other life that might be better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Just live in the moment.
Live in the moment.
Like what you like. Be friends with people who like share what you like. Don't be friends with people who share what you want to like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's this whole popularity thing where I see a lot of people start to make friends with people and like start to be fake friends because they want to benefit out of it.
Yeah.
They want to get more popular. They want to have more friends. They don't actually like the person they're being friends with, but it's a beneficial relationship.
It's hard. It's a hard way to live.
They're using you.
Yeah. It's a hard way to live. I remember going back to my high school reunion and I was talking to some girls who are like the popular girls. And they were still kind of like, to be honest, kind of bitchy, and talking about like, how much money they made or, and it's just not, that bores me.
Yeah.
Or like, and I know everyone wants to show up in a certain way in the world, but I think the less we think about how we're showing up and the more we just, or how, what people think about us. Right. And we just live what we love to do. I don't care if you play Dungeons and Dragons. I don't care what you do. Right. Drama or, chess club. Right. Have fun.
It's just kind of different. Like, while we're talking about this, like, I'm just like noticing how different your high school scene was versus my high school scene. You don't have
chess club?
It's not, but it's not like, I feel like in terms of popularity, it's not like the movie. Like you're describing to me like what I watched in the movies. Like the jocks and the cheerleaders are popular. The theater kids and were geeks, and there was chess club. They were geeks.
And it's not like that now.
It's not like that.
Well,
like,
I mean, it's going to be different all around the country. We're in California.
Yeah. And I just don't know if it's just my school, but I feel like there's so many people that like people aren't like, oh, you play chess, you're weird. Like it's more like you're popular if you know more people. It's like connections. It's like social networking. Like that's how you're popular.
Yeah.
That's
and
literally
and there's some truth to having a network is valuable when you get older, because I find that, when I need things, I go through my network. Whether it's I need volunteer help.
Yeah.
I need emotional help, or I need just fun. Let's go have fun. It is nice to have so it's important. But then when you start sweating it too much, it actually gets in your way.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And what did I want to say? I think to end having fake friends, or to stop making fake friends.
Yeah.
And to start making actual true and real connections with people and human beings.
Yeah.
You just need to be real to yourself. It starts from within.
Yeah. And that's hard for teenagers.
It's hard.
Not all teenagers, but there's some lucky ones, I guess, who don't seem to have any fear at all. But most, I think it's nice to think most teenagers, it's quite normal to have lots and lots of thinking, insecure thinking.
Yeah.
And I had it all the way through my 20s. I hate to tell you. I wish I had known then what I hope this podcast helps people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think if you're true to yourself and you know what you like, or you don't even know what you like, because I don't really know I don't know. Like everyone is their selves, and everyone has their unique personalities, and you need to find someone that lines up with you.
Yeah.
And if they don't, like, you're not going to have.
It's not going to be fun.
It's not going to be fun for you. You're not going to be interested in them.
I know.
You're going to be trying to get other things from them.
I always like the quirky, creative type people. There was one more topic on our list, talking shite versus talking facts.
Talking shit. Me and my friends talk about all the time the difference between talking shit and talking facts.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this I think is where fake friends gets brought up. I was like saying, oh, if I call someone annoying and then I go say hi to them, is that me being fake or me being civil? I think it is being fake, just because like, if they're not like annoying to me for a good reason, like if they haven't done anything to me that's literally annoying and I'm just calling them annoying and I don't know them, then yeah, you can call me fake for saying hi to them. But if that's talking shit, Calling
Okay.
someone like names with no good reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't know them. Or talking shit's also anything about physical appearance or personality traits not backed up by evidence.
Okay.
That's talking shit.
But I'm confused. But who are you saying you should be friendly to or not friendly to? Isn't it always fake regardless? It's fake if it's real, and it's fake if it's not.
I feel like, okay, listen. Okay, if someone does something messed up to you, but
Yeah.
it's not like super, super messed up,
Yeah.
but like they did something
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
and you were like, why would they do that? And you talk to your friends about it. You're like, that was so rude of them. But then you're at a social event where you're kind of forced to say hi to them and you say hi.
Yeah.
I don't think that's being fake. I think
Okay.
that's being civil.
Being civil is nice and good, keeps our society running.
Yeah.
It's good. We don't need to upset everybody by
Yeah.
being so authentic that we have to tell everybody
Yeah.
that we find them annoying.
Like, I don't want to just ignore them.
I know. I understand.
But if they did something bad to me, that was actual reason for me talking badly about them,
yeah.
then I feel like it's valid.
I mean, I think I remember being in college, I had a really good friend. My friend, Sam, I don't think he'd mind if I mentioned him. And we used to hang out a lot and we used to talk about people. We used to talk shite about people a lot. And we realized it. We were like, what? It's almost like there's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
It's like this thing where like, and it's also kind of juicy and interesting.
You're like making
Maybe
fun.
it makes you feel a little better, like a superior person. Yeah. So we had this like pact that we weren't going to talk shit
So
about
hard,
people.
though.
And we broke it so many times. It was so hard. But I do notice that now that I'm older, I really don't that much.
Yeah.
Like I don't care to. And I think part of that is also finding our creative outlets and our projects and the things that we can talk about that are like, or maybe politics or the world or climate. Things that we could maybe work on, do positive things. I mean,
I think if you and your friends are talking shite, you guys, you're a little boring, and you probably need a hobby you guys can all do together.
I know.
Or something.
I still do sometimes talk.
I do. I talk it all the time. Are you kidding?
Venting,
I'm like, okay, that's different as well. Venting, talking shite. Talking shite is literally you talking about someone for no good reason, just because you're bored and they haven't done anything to you to hurt you.
I don't do that.
Venting is when someone hurts you and you're telling your friend about it.
Yeah.
You need to talk about it.
I'm telling somebody because I want to hear their feedback. Like, you know this person. Am I getting this wrong?
Completely.
This is are you? And also, here's the other thing about sharing that experience. If you experience someone as annoying or problematic, or rude or whatever, and then you talk to a friend about that person that you both know, and they say, "Oh, I don't see that."
Yeah.
Then you can be like, "Okay, it's my dynamic with them," and you can figure that out.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Or if they do say, "Oh my God, yes, they're always kind of like that," and I think it's because of their dog is dying or something, or they're I think it's good to get a check. It's good to get sometimes a second opinion about why someone might be being rude to you, so that you can check yourself, or you can be like, oh my gosh, they're like that to everybody. So you don't have to take it as personally. And that's huge.
You can know the difference between talking facts and talking shite.
Yeah.
Based off how you feel after.
Yeah.
If I just told my friend a story of something that happened to me with another person, and I wasn't being dramatic, I just told them what happened and asked for advice, I'm not going to feel guilty for doing that.
Yeah.
But when I talk shite, I'm like, oh my God, I feel so guilty. Like, they're going to find out. Like, I have a feeling. And if I see that person I'm talking shit about, I feel like they know. Like, if you feel guilty after talking about someone, then you were talking shite.
Shouldn't be talking.
You probably were talking you were being a little
talking shite.
Dramatic.
Yeah. Which is okay. And we're not all going to change right away. Yeah. But the ingredient for change is to just notice the patterns that you have. And because there's a deeper part of you, and I think this is important, that is a deeper intelligence, which I call wisdom, which will come up and will help fix things for you. It's not even something you have to work hard at, but it's more like but you have to be willing to acknowledge your pattern. If you're like, if you're going to be in denial, it's not going to change. Yeah. So you have to be willing to acknowledge and have humility, which is easier to have when you realize, oh, everybody's human. Yeah. Everyone's doing this. So I don't have to feel like a bad person And that's huge. We should talk about that on the next one.
What?
Because
feeling like a bad
a
person.
lot of people, in fact, almost everybody has this thing of like, I'm a bad person.
Yeah,
so
I always think I'm an evil person.
I know. And so when you start thinking that way, your behavior is worse.
Yeah. But guess what? Everyone thinks they're an evil person.
Okay, so let's get into that next time. So join us on the next one.
Okay, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time on Be Fuck Freaking For Real.
You've been listening to BFFR with Love, Tori and Ami. You can find all of our episodes at Amy Chen's website at amychen.com, AMICHEN.com on our show page, or go to Spotify, Apple, or YouTube and like, comment, subscribe to get this show out into the world. To find out more about Ami Chen Mills' coaching and education practice and her books, The Spark Inside and State of Mind in the Classroom for Educators, also go to her website at www.amychen.com. That's Amy with an I, CHEN, and also subscribe to our newsletter, which goes out usually about monthly, not much more than that. Thank you so much for listening, and have an awesome, awesome life.